Welcome to my world, where you will experience an atmosphere of love, relevant subjects, and motivation. So let's talk about things that matter. What matters to you matters to me.
Hello, welcome to the Brother Henry and You show. My name is Shawanna Lilly, and Henry has asked me to just take over and be his co-host while he's taking some time off and chilling, need a little vacation time to himself. So I am going to do a 3-part series on the word codependency. All right, this first episode that I'm going to be doing is going to focus on 3 parts, okay? It is what is it, defining what it is, okay? The signs and symptoms and what possibly can cause codependency, all right? So if you guys can give me just 10 or 15 minutes of your time, I'm just going to go through those 3 parts, and then I'm going to get you going for the second show. With the second show, I'm going to actually have a special co-host with me, all right? So anyways, first part, codependency, what is it? It is defined as an excessive, and I want you to focus on the word excessive, okay? Emotional or psychological, reliance, focus on that word reliance, all right? On a partner, typically one who requires support on the account of an illness, focus on illness, or addiction, focus on the word addiction. So what is it, all right? I'm gonna define those 4 words that I had you guys to focus on, because I feel that those 4 words stood out and they made a significant impact on that definition of the word codependency and what is codependency and what entails it, okay? So, excessive, more than is necessary, okay? All right, or normal or desirable. All right, reliance, dependence on or trust in someone or something. All right, illness is a disease or period of sickness affecting the body or mind. And lastly, that word addiction is a compulsive, all right, chronic psychological need for a habit-forming substance, behavior, or activity. So now what I'm going to do now, I'm going to reread that definition of codependency, but I'm going to include those definitions of those 4 words, because I think that those 4 words pretty much pull together what it means to be a codependent person. All right. So I'm going over the definition of codependency again, but I'm including those 4 words that I told you guys to focus on: excessive, reliance, illness, and addiction. All right, so again, the definition is more than necessary or normal, emotional or psychological dependence or trust in someone or something, on a partner, typically one who requires support on account of a disease or period of sickness affecting the body or mind, or a compulsive, chronic, psychological need for a habit-forming substance, behavior, or activity. So now when you include those 4 words definitions and that meaning of codependence, it brings a whole new light to what codependent really means. If you're a codependent, you're compulsive. You have an addiction. All right? You have an addiction. You have addiction to somebody else. Pretty much, it's like you being on drugs, instead of being on a pill or whatever. You're dependent, you're addicted to a person. It's compulsive, you're needed. All right, that person is needed. You probably feel like, I have to have this person in order to function properly, or I need this recognition or something to function properly, and if I don't have it, I'm all out of whack. All right, it's more than necessary. It is an illness. It's a heavy reliance, meaning without this person, I cannot function, period. With a T on the end, period. All right, y'all? Periods with a T. All right, so why is it harmful then? All right, why is it harmful to be heavily reliant on a person? Okay? It's enabling. All right? Empowering someone else to have control over you. That other person that you're heavily relying on, they have control over you if you're codependent on them. Because at the end of the day, if you can't satisfy them, you're going to be upset. And they might be fine, but you're going to be upset. And they have that power over you. And they may, unfortunately, because there are some individuals out there like that, that will take advantage of that and use that against you. All right? Number 2, it's an excessive need of approval or a sense of identity. Meaning, you're not feeling good just by yourself, just because of who you are. You're only feeling good because of somebody else and what they feel about you, or their approval of you, or if they agree with what you're saying, or agree to the terms, or you agree to their terms, possibly. That's not a good thing, all right? That's not a good thing at all. All right? It's all based on someone else's view of you, not your own. People pleasing, Lord have mercy. How many people do I know? I used to be a people pleaser. My goodness, I'm so glad that I have been delivered from people pleasing. Delivered with a T on the end. All right? Because at the end of the day, if you're so focused on always trying to please everybody else, it's at your expense. All right? You're probably not the most happy with yourself because you're being depleted. You're being depleted because you're so focused on just pleasing everybody else instead of making sure that you're happy and your focus is on your happiness as well. Okay? And it's people pleasing for acceptance without accepting yourself. All right? I had to throw that in because I forgot that little part. But you don't even really truly accept yourself as well. And that's not a good thing because you got to accept yourself. You got to love. It's a lack of love there at the end of the day. There's a huge lack of love there where that's not allowing you to really love yourself to make sure that above everybody else's needs, your needs are taken care of first. Y'all, excuse me, stuff falling all down. Lord have mercy, y'all. Excuse me now, okay? All right. I ain't recording this over, but y'all, excuse me, I love y'all. But anyways, yeah, you want to make sure that there's a love, you got to check your love gauge because there's something off. If you're so worried about everybody else's approval, you're not really accepting who you are as a person. All right. So your love meter is off when it concerns loving yourself. Now, why is this so bad for relationships? Why is codependency so bad for relationships? All right. According to Women's Recovery, I did, get some information from some other sources. All right. From the Dangers of Codependency, published in 2016. All right. It's bad for relationships because it's unhealthy and toxic to both partners involved, not just you, but also the other partner. All right. It affects an individual's ability to have a healthy and natural relationship and creates a dynamic where typically one or both persons depend on the other to take care of them emotionally, physically, financially, possibly sexually. So not only are you harming yourself, but you could possibly drag somebody else into your codependency. And I genuinely feel like I've been in that situation before. I'm quite sure a lot of us can sit back and think and be like, if we're really honest with ourselves, we're probably like, you know what? I've probably been in plenty of codependent relationships where I may have been possibly the victim at first or the villain. I'm not trying to point fingers at who did it and what not. No, I'm not at all. But I can say that, and according to this, research, that you can pull somebody else and perhaps make them codependent on you. And it becomes toxic for both partners, and that's totally not fair. All right. So what are some signs and symptoms? Let's go to part 2 of this episode of codependency. All right. What are signs and symptoms of it? Do you have a codependent personality? All right. We're about to do a checklist. All right. Do you have a codependent personality? If your mood, happiness, and identity is defined by another person, You can be in a codependent relationship. Again, if your mood, happiness, or sense of identity, who you are, depends on another person, there's a newsflash. Hello, newsflash. There's a possibility that you are a codependent person or in a codependent relationship. All right, I'm gonna give you 8 signs. All right, 8 signs to look for, and and to reflect on, because you might need to do some self-reflection. Say, hold up, that sounds like me. I need to work on myself. I need to work on loving me and accepting me for me before I expect anybody else to love me and accept me for me. Because when I'm happy with me and I'm loving me, all else falls in place. Either you get in line or you get out the way, because if you're getting out the way, that means you're not vibing with me, and that's fine too. But anyways, let's go with these 8 signs. Y'all know I get off in a tangent sometimes, be talking about everything, but y'all bear with me. I love y'all. All right, first of all, 8 signs that you could be codependent, or in a codependent relationship. Difficulty making decisions. All right, if you really can't make a decision without that other person, and I'm not talking about stuff like in marriages where it is important to make decisions together, but if you seriously cannot make a simple decision like what to cook for dinner, or simple stuff without having to ask somebody else or be reliant on somebody else's approval, that's a sign that you could be codependent. Difficulty communicating is a sign of codependency. Valuing the approval of others more than yourself. Okay? Lack trust in yourself or poor self-esteem. Again, you're not loving who you are. If you're not loving who you are and you base it on everybody else's approval of loving you, then yes, there's a huge chance that you could be a codependent person. All right? Fear of abandonment. I don't want to be alone. I'm listening to this music in the background. I don't own the rights to this music, so before y'all try to come at me, Facebook folks, police, I already made that disclaimer. I don't own the rights. But one of the songs I was listening to, or may come on, is "I'm So Tired of Being Alone" by Al Green. Are you afraid of being alone? Or are you afraid of somebody leaving you or being abandoned? That could be a sign of codependency. Watch out now. Okay. All right. Unhealthy dependence on relationships, even at your own cost. All right. That was number 7. And number 8, difficulty identifying your feelings. You tend to hold your feelings in a lot, your true, actual feelings about something or someone, because you're so willing to just cater to them. Cater. Let me cater to you. What's that song by was it Destiny's Child? Let me cater to you. I can't sing, y'all, but I tried it. But anyways, there's nothing wrong with sometimes catering to people and want to take care of people, but if you're always catering to somebody at the expense of your own happiness, then you're pretty much codependent. You're not going to be happy overall, and that's setting it up for a complete failure at the end. And we're going to talk about those effects with the next episode. All right, I'm not going to talk too much about that this time. Now, what are some causes? All right, let's go into the third part. We're about to wrap this show up. Let's go into the third part. What are some causes of codependency? And this came from Relationships and Recovery of Codependency. All right, from the Valley Recovery Center. I'm trying to make sure I give credit where it's due. All right, I don't want folks telling me I'm stealing their work. No, I'm using your work. I appreciate your work too. All right, now causes. Number 1 cause, most likely originates in childhood. Yes, childhood. Children are extremely impressionable. We know that, especially if you're a mother and father. Children will pick up on things quick, and their feelings can get hurt quick, or they can go from one emotion from another emotion, just like from 0 to 100 real quick. All right, but they're highly impressionable. They need love and devotion in order to create a secure foundation for adulthood. A lack of disruption in the sense of security or emotional maturation. The child may seek another person in order to compensate for low self-esteem. All right. So what that kind of came out choppy, but just to go back over what that's saying, pretty much because they're not mature emotionally. They may seek other people to compensate that. They're looking for a sense of security in their parents or friends because of their immaturity and emotional immaturity and security within themselves. All right, they're not being taught how to be, how to love themselves, how to be free, how to just pretty much be happy with themselves, being you. There's a lack of that. Now, what can cause that? What can cause those causes? All right, environments that are chaotic and unpredictable. You might have grown up in a really hostile environment, hostile childhood. All right, and that could lead to you being codependent because you became codependent maybe on one of your parents or others outside of your home if you weren't getting that love from home that you needed. So you seeked it in others, and you seeked approval in others because you couldn't get it from your parents. All right, manipulation. Lord have mercy, that word just makes my skin crawl. Ugh. All right, I can't stand manipulation or manipulative people. All right, folks that it'll drive you crazy. It'll have you manipulative people will have you second guessing yourself all the time. No sense of security, no confidence in making decisions, no confidence of being in your right mind. Because stuff is constantly changing with manipulation. Manipulation means to change. All right. Shame, being shamed by your parents, being guilt-ridden by your parents. Excuse me. Monetizing love, unrealistic expectations. These parents putting these expectations on kids that they really want. They weren't able to possibly succeed when they were children. So now they're putting it on their children. And when the children can't meet their expectations, it's verbal abuse, emotional abuse. That's not good. All right. Emotional and physical abuse, neglect, overly harsh or abusive parents, unwillingness of parents to admit there is a problem and refuse to seek outside help. All right. So if you grown up in a household possibly that was abusive, chaotic, and parents are like, there's no problem here. We got this under control. This is my child. I handle this, and they're really and as a child, you're just solely dependent on them and reliant on an abusive person. It's like a drug. You're seeking that attention, you're seeking that comfort, you're seeking that love because that's what children naturally tend to do. But when you don't get it, you're feeling rejected, you're guilty, you're feeling shame. Codependency breeding in the making, excuse me. All right, codependency in the making, just a powerhouse for it. All right, so at this point, honestly, I'm actually gonna stop for this episode. All right, I'm actually gonna stop. So what we're gonna do, all right, is we're gonna stop here today for this episode, and next week Henry is gonna share the next episode, which will be the effects of codependency on various relationships. And that's when I'm going to have my co-host, and I'll introduce him next week when he comes in. Or, I'll introduce him next week, I guess, because that's when y'all will see this video. All right. So I hope my video helped you to identify what is codependency. All right. Giving you some signs and symptoms of it and the main cause of it. Again, childhood. All right. Next week, I will have my best friend, again, as I stated already, Joe Shaw, and we will be discussing the effects again of codependency on various relationships. All right. I know I just repeated myself, but y'all, I'm trying to, freestyle and work from a notes. All right, bear with me. But anyways, I hope I was able to go over some things, some causes of codependency, the definition of codependency, some signs and symptoms, and possible and the causes of it. All right. I hope you was able to grasp something from this video. I hope you were able to learn something from this video. Again, thank you for joining me as the co-host, Shawanna Lilly, on the Brother Henry and You show with my brother Henry Harris. He be doing his thing, talking about real stuff, relevant things, real issues, dealing with the realness and the realness. That's why I wrote my homie. I almost said something crazy. Lord have mercy. My homie Henry. But anyways, thank you again. Y'all be blessed, and y'all have a good evening. Peace. Bye.
Hi. If you like what you've seen today, be sure to connect with Brother Henry at www.facebook.com/The Brother Henry and You Show. And also be sure to check out and subscribe to his YouTube channel, which is www.youtube.com/Henry Harris 100. We hope that this has been a blessing to you, and we hope to hear from you soon. Keep watching, because what matters to you matters to Brother Henry.